Hail, hail, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. We are here a little bit earlier than normal because recently on the channel, when we've been doing match day content, we like to come out live as the team sheets come out and have a wee kind of, look at how all this is shaking around. But tonight, I'll be watching the game out of the house, so I won't be here to do the stream as the team sheet comes out. So I thought we'll just jump on. I've got a lot on my plate today, so I've just this is the quickest opportunity that I could get the stream out today. And, give you guys plenty of time to maybe tune into it after we've been live as well. So fist bumps to everyone that does catch it live. And if you're watching us later on after we've been live, of course, massive fist bump to yourself. Hope you're having a great day. If you're traveling to the game, of course, travel safe. Hope you have a great time there. But today, we've spoke a lot, guys, on the last couple of days about the transfer window, the aftermath, everything around it. There's plenty of content on the channel if you want to go into that stuff. Because today, this is purely Aberdeen away and everything else that goes around it. I think the first thing we should look at, but I actually didn't have this set up, so let me just click a button. There we go. We actually had a bit of a development in the league last night. We had a Tuesday night match, and like I've been saying long enough, Hearts are not going to finish the season on 2 losses, and they're bringing the Quinny prophecy in at the first asking away to St Mirren, which they've already dropped points at and they've not done well in before. Always a tough game. So they have dropped 3 points. It gives us a great opportunity to get breathing down their necks again and really turn the temperature up, turn the pressure up on Hearts. Rangers obviously play tonight also at home at Kilmarnock, which is certainly an easier game than going away to Aberdeen midweek. So it'll be interesting to see between the two of us how we both fare, certainly. But I think for us Celtic fans, it's all eyes on the top spot. We're not really looking behind us. We're not looking in the rearview mirror to all these other bums and jabronis that are trying to keep up with us. We're looking to try and overtake the pack leader, get back in front again. So absolute must-win game. I totally echo what Paul Adams is saying here today. Every game is must-win, and it's been really refreshing to hear Martin O'Neill say the exact same thing in the press conference that we had yesterday. That there is no room for error, there is no margin for error, etc. So I really hope that we get that kind of up into the ante, that bit of fresh blood, that little bit of fresh impetus into the match tonight. I don't normally feature these videos on the channel, but I watched this just before we came on. It's on for a minute. So I thought I would just stick it on in the background while we chat, because we've had our first training session with the new boys being integrated. I've not heard the Benjamin Arthur interview. We might give that a wee listen. How long is it on for? 2 minutes? Yeah, I think we will. But a lot of you guys commented yesterday at the quality of the journalism and the questions that were being asked to Junior Adamu. So I'd found some time to listen to it. I put a post out on the channel timestamping it. And Jesus, man. Oh, Jesus, I couldn't believe how bad it was for like a minute in the middle, 2 minutes in the middle, one guy just babbling a lot of nonsense that he could have Googled before the press conference actually happened. When did you last play for Austria and all that caper? So hopefully this one with Benjamin Arthur maybe tells us a little bit about him and maybe we get some better questions asked. But yeah, if you've not seen this is the training session from this morning. Trying to turn the music down a little bit. But I quite enjoyed seeing this today because Junior Adamu, who I think is clearly the transfer I was the most excited about, and it feels like the transfer that most of yous are interested in, enthusiastic by. I don't know what the phrase would be. And I was thinking when I was watching this, because today it's freezing. I don't know if this was today or yesterday. It's probably today, wasn't it? But as you watch this, Ian Atchell drops a wee comment about how cold it is. You see them all coming out. Seb and Joel, the old pals from Bodo. There's Junior there. Guys are all buzzing.
Windy.
Yeah. You can tell Ian Atchell's not buzzing about the weather, but see when that you kind of realise, it is Baltic today, by the way, and these guys have just come in. This guy's from Austria. You know what I mean? He's right used to the cold. And then the other boy in Vuka, he's Norwegian. You know what I mean? So, we had it before with Bernabe, maybe with Jota and Bernardo, these types of guys when we brought them in, that like the weather is a difference for people. But with these guys that we've brought in, actually, this is normal. There won't be any big shakes to them. There's no snow on the ground, and I quite enjoyed it. Adamu doesn't stop smiling here. He's got a really good attitude. You can tell. Julian Araujo as well, in good spirits. And everyone, the group, the squad looks very quickly in a better spot. We see Sarachi there as well, who's back in training now. He's been training for about a week or so. There's Dyson Sama, needs to wake up a bit. And we'll chat about him, I think, in a little bit more detail in the build into this one, because we've got lots of options in attack now. And like Martin O'Neill said as well in the press conference, it's not just needing that to add in, but it's the competition for places. Also, we're getting a really small snippet of training here, but I don't think anyone is resting on their laurels. I think everyone knows, Jesus, there's a guy here coming from that shirt, and the intensity and the competitiveness maybe just goes out a little bit. They are. Big Tam loves the neck warmers, and for good reason, by the way. He's got a lot of neck to cover. So I heard a joke from someone saying he uses a sleeping bag for a neck warmer. Nobody's talking about the disciplinary record, Quinny, of McInnes's teams, and he is under pressure. Just look at Kelly at the end of last season now, Hearts, and his behaviour after Celtic. Interesting detail there. But I quite enjoyed that. Maybe you guys did too. Feel free to check it out in your own time. And I've not got my headphones set up, but I want to hear from Arthur. Before we get that, there's a comment here from Michael. Good to see you, mate. Big supporter of the content, Michael. You're one of my favourite heroes these days. You can see the pressure is getting to Hearts, and hopefully our experience helps us win it. I do think that's something that we clearly have in our favour. We've got guys that have been there, seen it, done it. Hearts don't have anyone except for Craig Gordon. Yeah, that have done anything. So that is definitely something that will come into it. I'll say it again. I don't see Hearts capitulating, you know. They're not going to finish the season on 3 losses either. They were never going to finish the season on 2 losses. How many losses can they get to? We want them to get to 6 because that's where we're at. And at that point, we're really then in a position of control if we can continue to keep winning, obviously. So the pressure will get to them, of course, but the league is tough. The league is, you know, like St Mirren are down here and they won the cup this year. We all know how tough St Mirren can be. I think we all know how tough Dundee United can be. Aberdeen are a real basket case. We'll find out about that tonight. And from Falkirk upwards, who knows about them? I've not really seen any of them this year, but they all play good football. They all give everyone a game. So it was just never going to be one-way traffic, really, for me. But I'm interested to hear from Ben here, see what he says.
Benji, welcome to Celtic. You've literally just arrived in the last hour or so. What are your first impressions of the training facilities?
First off, I'm really excited to be here. Just got here and obviously been shown around and the facilities are great. I look forward to working here.
Yeah, you're here on loan till the end of the season. You are a Brentford player in the Premier League. Is this the place that you hope you can really launch your professional career?
Yeah, I think it's the right move for my development. I'm really excited to be here and I think I can grow and learn a lot of things here.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much growing you've got. At 6'4", you're a big guy, you're a big, strong defender. Do you think you can really impose yourself?
Is that Jerry's best line ever?
Yourself on Scottish football?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've heard a lot of things and I know a few people here and I think what they've said is very competitive, you know, it's an aggressive side and I think I've got a lot to learn there.
Yeah, I know that it's been such a quick move. You haven't had a chance to perhaps speak to Christopher Ajer. He was here for a few years. Aaron Hickey was developed here as well. I'm sure these guys will vouch for the club. But you come in the middle of the season. Celtic are up against a real challenge at the top of the league. Are you ready to feel that pressure?
Yeah, I think pressure's always been part of the game, but I think it doesn't really affect me at all. I think it's in the stadium and everything, it's all amazing and I'm really excited to play in front of the fans.
Yeah, and as far as, you know, your own style as a centre-back, who do you look up to? Who are the defenders that you look to and think these guys are the top?
I have to say Virgil. I've heard a lot of, I don't want to say comparisons, but people like to say I play like him. We have the same style and stuff like that. I think he's an amazing defender and I think definitely look up to him the most, yeah.
Listen, Benji, if you can do a quarter as good as Virgil did when he was a Celtic player, then you'll go down well with the Celtic supporters. There's obviously a challenge for places and competition for places at the back. Are you ready to take on that challenge and try and win a place in the side?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'll be looking to do. I mean, I'm ready for the fight and competitive is part of the game, so yeah.
Yeah, that is indeed. You look good in the green and white. Welcome to Celtic and good luck.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Hail, hail, big man. He looks up for it. He looks up for it, and I'll take that. Again, I still have my reservations around the situation we're in and bringing a rookie defender in. But again, happy if this guy can turn out like Denier or become the Callum Osmond, the centre-backs. I'm here for it. I'm open to it. You know, I'm not ruling it out. But, and again, we had a lot of chat. I think I had some comments on the stream yesterday talking about, if something good happens, it's Martin O'Neill, and if something bad happened, it was the board. I just kind of want to say this at this point, right? This is the situation we're in. Obviously, it's maybe going to close the gap a little bit. The problem with the board when all this is they are the ones that dictate terms of business, you know, what the wage budget is, what the transfer budget is, what players we can do and will approach. And again, we spoke about this in a lot of detail. Don't want to rehash it too much, but it's my number one concern coming out of January isn't Junior Adamu, isn't Chvanchara and Araujo. I quite like these guys. Let's see how Arthur does, and let's see how Mvuka does. Open to, and like I said yesterday, on merit individually, in isolation, I actually don't really have much of an issue with most of the transfers. Again, Mvuka is a big question mark, isn't it? The problem is that this is the strategy that we chose in this situation. I just don't think that's optimal. That's a big gamble. It's a big risk. We're meant to be risk adverse, aren't we? But anyway, let's get into the game tonight because we actually have a big squad to choose from, you know? We actually have some bloody options. We actually have some different players that, you know, we could maybe switch things up a little bit. We may be able to rest somebody. We've got a game at the weekend. There's also a big boycott planned for that. More on that later. But we actually have choices everywhere. Now, I've tried to clean this up a little bit with the guys that are injured and whatnot. There's a question in here. Trusty suspension. I believe it's one match. I've got him down as playing in this game. Certainly. Morning, Quinny. Thanks. Good to see you. Nikaritsu. Hope you're doing well. Great result last night to help us in retaining the title. I would agree with that big time. Truly would love Araujo to take Kalmak's position when Johnson's back and play him in his best position. Wow, Araujo into midfield. I wouldn't rule it out, but I think you're asking a lot of that kid to pick up and whatever. Paul Stewart, Quinny was loving the transfer videos early days. We're good to see a potential rebuild video for the summer. It's very much on the notepad already. I kind of touched on that the other day with, you know, obviously we've just signed a bunch of loan players, but the obvious on top of that, like Engels is probably going to leave in the summer. Dyson surely has gone in the summer. Schmeichel will be gone, etc., etc. We're good. That's on the to-do list already, Paul. I'm glad you like those videos, and I'll do my best to make that one as enjoyable as I possibly can. Hopefully he's a good ball carrier. I think that's talking about Ben. You know, if he can play like Virgil, then, or stylistically like Virgil, then that should be something that's in the mix for him. Now, I think we'll start. With the, you know, we'll just switch the goalkeepers away, obviously, because we know it's going to be Schmeichel on the net again. At right back, I don't think there's really much of a conversation to be had there. Left back's when I get interested here because Sriracha is back training. He's been training for about a week to 10 days. Tierney has been playing fantastically. He's been playing every game, and he came off the last game on the 83rd minute, and we moved Scales into left back. Now, I think we've really put Tierney into the red zone here. Can we have a wee look at, let's look at it on flash scores because it's just really quite good for looking at the minutes, right? But let's have a look at how Tierney has been running recently because he has been running consistently, regularly, you know, non-stop all the time. And yeah, man, look at this. So would we have had Sriracha for this game? Let me check. No, this was a 3 at the back situation. That was a 3 at the back. Dundee United, that was a Wilfred Nancy. Did Wilfred Nancy have Sriracha? I'm not sure. Maybe need to just maybe just check Sriracha when he went injured, and we can use that as a. That's 1 hour, not 2. Yeah, Sriracha. There we go. So let's see, Sriracha. When did you last kick a ball in anger? Dundee Hibs back then. So if we look then, Dundee Hibs. Where the hell is it? Dundee Hibs. There we go. So these games here, Tierney came off in the 28th minute and in the 47th minute, and Sriracha covered the other minute. So from that point onwards, the Hearts game onwards, Tierney's been our only left back. And any minutes that he's been covered for is mainly Scales. I think we might have had a Donovan left back for a couple of minutes in one of the matches. Obviously, Nancy after the Hearts game is the manager, so there's a little bit of that comes into it, where he's been played at centre back, and we've seen Liam Scales at left wing back and stuff. But we forget about the Nancy little run there for a moment, or that little segment. 90, 46, 88, 90, 90. Auchinleck Talbot rested. 90, 73, 90, 83. He's been doing great this year. I could very much see him being rotated in this game against Aberdeen. Now, I think because of the Hearts situation, I don't think Sriracha could start this game, but I definitely think we're going to see him in this one come off the bench for Tierney. You could maybe even see Sriracha start the weekend, potentially. I wouldn't entirely rule that one out. In terms of defence, I think it's going to be too soon for Arthur, and I don't think Murray gets a start over Austin Trusty. So I think this will be the defence that we go with, but I think we will see the return of Sriracha. And I think there's a lot of Celtic fans out there, as much as Tierney has been an absolute hero, I think there's a lot of people quite interested to see how Araujo and Sriracha would look on the wide areas for us and what kind of dimension that could offer the team. So that could be interesting second half, especially if the game's tight. Obviously, we hope it's not tight come that time. But anyway, Bernardo's not going to start this. I think we know that also. McKeown probably the same. Balikwisha probably won't even be in the building. So it really comes down to Negren and Hatate. Now, Hatate hasn't really been... well, let me look at Negren first of all. Negren's minutes. Again, Martin O'Neill hasn't always started Ben Negren. He's on a run of 390 minutes in a row. He's on a hot streak here of goals and assists and whatnot. 45 minutes against Bologna, which you'll remember. Only a little few minutes off the bench against Talbot. And prior to that, the return of Martin O'Neill, 90 minutes against Falkirk. So on Martin's second return, he's been quite ever-present. But as you see with the Bologna game, he's not backwards and rotating them and trying to optimise them. You can even see that with the Talbot thing. Whereas prior to that, it was maybe a wee bit more in-out, shake it all about. Hatate obviously paid his penance. He got suspended and then Martin dropped him for a domestic game on top of that as well. And he made a really lacklustre return off the bench against Falkirk. I don't think you can justify a start for Hatate, but he really needs to wake up when he comes off the bench in this game and really give us something extra. Now, I'm going to start with the left wing because I actually, if you saw the Falkirk breakdown, not a lot of people have watched it because there was a lot of transfer stuff and all the rest of it, but it went out yesterday at like 7 in the morning. And if you watch the Falkirk breakdown, Dyson is off it. Like, you know, like provably off it. Is it a mental thing? Is it a desire thing? Is it a happiness with the transfer stuff? Maybe. I'm more inclined to think it's burnout more than anything because Dyson has been the least rotated player in the squad for the most part. He's been used in every position across the front line. Auchinleck Talbot he missed, but otherwise he has been omnipresent this season, probably to his detriment, you know. So again, it's Aberdeen and all the rest of it, but I really don't want Dyson to start this game for the benefit of him and for the team. I really want to see Tuneki get the start here. I think Tuneki's looked better in the last couple of games. It looks like since he scored that goal and a couple of the shots he's been taking, a lot of the training he's been making with Fotheringham and the guys is improving him. And you've always got Dyson off the bench. I think I would much rather have Tuneki start this game rather than Dyson because I just don't think you're going to... I know Aberdeen's a bit of a smaller pitch. They're not in as good of a place perhaps as probably even Falkirk, but I don't want to see Dyson starting the game personally. And on the right-hand side, Forrest won't start. Vuka's probably going to be on the bench. And Yang, who came off basically at half-time, having a bit of a whitey. We just seen the training video there. He's in amongst it like a dog eating beetroot. I think he's going to be fine to go. The real question mark, the real fun one, is up front because we have options. We have depth. We have different styles as well, you know. Iheanacho, I think we know what we get from him. We get a traditional number 9, a guy that can drop in, have a wee give and go, and then break into the box for a finish. He can run on the last shoulder of a defender, take a goalkeeper for a 1v1. We've seen lots of goodness with Iheanacho. And I've got a Europa League review video that will be out on the channel in the next couple of days, probably tomorrow. And for doing that, I went back and I watched all the Europa League highlight videos just to refresh my memory on everything. And Iheanacho, by the way, like if he'd been fit this whole time, we would not be in this situation we're in, I think, because he's a proper finisher. Chvanchara, hard to take him out of the team. He's played 2, scored 1, assisted 1, looked lively. I think he did 60, 65 minutes and then 70 minutes, so certainly not ready for the 90. Adamu, on the other hand, if we can have this is something I would have liked one of the journalists to ask Adamu, is why hasn't he played since the winter break in Germany? So if we have a look at, he's played 1 game, sorry, in Europa League, beg your pardon. But otherwise, yeah, he played 20th of December, 12 minutes. Is that from the start? No, off the bench. Yeah, off the bench. That's fine. But yeah, I just did he fall out of favour? Did he pick up a wee injury? I think that would have just been an interesting detail to know. But I guess the fact he's played 60 minutes against Leo right before we signed him probably lends you to the fact that he is like without issue. You know, could Adamu start over Chvanchara? I would not rule it out. I think it would be Martin O'Neill's got the big, Martin O'Neill's got the balls to do that. A Nancy, a Rogers, I'm not as sure. But I could easily see Martin O'Neill just picking a guy because he's picking the guy, you know. Iheanacho feels like he'll be on the bench almost certainly. And Iheanacho, I said it when we signed him in the summer, and I made this reference again recently. Iheanacho is a fantastic option for us as like a 1B striker, but we're still missing that Kyogo replacement. We're still missing that talisman to really lead the line. These two guys also strike me as 1B type strikers. But I think both of these guys, because of their age and their potential, particularly Adamu, I think they have the potential to lift up to being 1A caliber, if you get me. So I think this will be a really interesting decision from the manager, because let's imagine Adamu starts on the bench. You're probably going to have Adamu, Iheanacho, and Dyson feature at some. We're not going to see Balikwisha or Bernardo, I don't think, or Forrest or Murray. Let's just try and clean this up a little bit. Who do I think we'll actually see? I think Iheanacho, Dyson, Adamu, Mvuka, Hatate. Is that maybe the 5 subs? I think Sarachi will play somehow as well. And then, yeah, do you get all of these guys onto the pitch? I'm not too sure. So actually, some really difficult decisions for the manager, which is, like I said to Paul John on Monday, a healthy headache. That's what you want in the team. I think this will be the way the team lines up. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Dyson did start. I wouldn't be shocked if Hatate somehow got into the team, although I do think it's way unlikely. But just again, I just wouldn't rule it out entirely. Adamu has a bit of versatility, so again, I wouldn't rule out maybe the change of front line, maybe looking something like this. And if we do have, for example, Tierney coming off for Sarachi, you've then got, you know, the fullbacks giving you the width. You've got Negren in the middle trying to knit it up. Maybe Negren comes off at some point for a Hatate. But then this front three coming off the bench. You know what I mean? We've not did that in so long. Fresh legs. Maybe it's 1-0. Maybe it's 0-0. Maybe we're humping them. And then these 3 guys come on. You know, we've not had a move like that up our sleeve for so long, you know, and yeah, that would be really good, wouldn't it? It might not be Adamu. It might not even be Iheanacho. It might be Adamu, and it could be the boy Mvuka, potentially. Not to be ruled out entirely. So I really like the options we've got in attack. The Arthur kids, like, again, it's just the whole rookie situation. I don't think you're making a sub to bring him into the game, really, are you? So I think that's probably the lay of the land, how we've got most of the team shaping up and how we're going to try and, you know, win this game, the problems we're going to try and solve, and who we're going to call upon to do that. And I do think with Chara, he will benefit a lot, I think, from having like just wingers around him rather than Dyson Maeda. You then get Negren to be that secondary forward player. Off the ball, we like a bit of 4-4-2 these days. And I think Negren and Dyson was a lovely combo because Dyson's got that kind of ferocity, hasn't he? That tempo. Both of these guys, I know Chara can cover ground, but it's maybe not quite that yin and yang. It's more a bit of just double teaming, give and go, and be able to press together for what it's worth. And then you've got wingers that can break forward. You've got fullbacks that can add a lot as well. And with Big Tam being in and around the box, occupying hopefully 2 centre backs, I think this is probably going to be the way we go. And it'll be really interesting to see how Chara operates with wingers rather than inside forwards and such, kind of hanging around them. So yeah, this is the way I expect the team to line up. Now, we do have a prediction for Aberdeen, and this is what the Aberdeen prediction looks like. I'll put this on your screen now so you can look at it, and I will fill the Aberdeen team in on screen, and we'll have a little think about passages of play and how things might shake out. Now, there's a few names here that'll be quite familiar to you. They're looking to play Mitchell Frame and Liam Morrison in defence. Is the boy Noster on to play? No, he's not. I'm just trying to fix my little software I've got here. But the front line, they've got Armstrong, they've got Kiskinen, Bilalovic in midfield with Cameron, and the other guy, his name begins with A. Devlin at right back, no Shinnie. Excellent. So Hilt Nielsen is in at centre back. And who's that guy whose name? Aremu. He'll be in midfield. Awesome. So we can put that on screen. And where do they reckon? Ameru on the right, Cameron on the left, Bilalovic in the middle. And yeah, awesome. We can switch that back now. So this is how Aberdeen look to shape up against us. I think we know with Armstrong, he's not a winger. Kiskinen very much is. And again, from what I've seen of Mitchell Frame can get really up the line, but I don't think we're going to see that from him. I think we're probably going to see a traditional Aberdeen be up quite tight and deep. I don't know much about this Aremu guy, but I know Lyle Cameron can kind of break into pockets. And I would probably expect this to look a bit more, you know, maybe you don't see Kiskinen swapping sides, but I think this midfield will kind of box in a little bit. However it formulates, I'm not too sure. But I think they're going to try and kill the middle of the pitch. They're going to try and keep the defence narrow and together. And then it's going to be between Kiskinen and Nisbet. Can they escape out this side of the pitch, this side? Or maybe it's, they kind of hang out that way a little bit. Unusual because normally somebody's in McGregor or in the centre-back's face, but depends on what side of the ball, side of the pitch the ball's on. You can maybe see Nisbet breaking into a pocket, or you'll see Nisbet kind of breaking in there. Because I just don't see Armstrong actually being like a front three player for them. And I think, again, without knowing too much about their midfield, they're quite box-to-boxy, so they're probably going to fill in some nice spaces. Devlin, as we know, doesn't really get off the leash too much. He can do if they get some possession and whatever. And Frame at this level it'll be a big test. It'll be a big, big question for him. Balalovic is a winger, you're telling me. So we may be seeing it as a bit more like this then, perhaps. Armstrong in the middle. Because, yeah, this has got Balalovic centre mid. Let's read the notes. Midfield, Cameron should start. Shinny red card last game means new signing Aremu should start. Paul Vara has left to the MLS, and Shar Carton linked either a move on loan. Clarkson has joined Blackpool. Carlson's gone. Balalovic is a risk, though he could be dropped out for a third CM. Interesting. But he is listed here as one of the wing options. Yeah, so I think you're right there. Great catch. So I think that's probably, and again, if they don't play him there, they'll maybe play another centre mid, and maybe then Armstrong as a kind of wide midfielder. I don't think they're going to get him as a winger, obviously. But yeah, it's probably the way it actually goes then, isn't it? Brown Warrior, I think they'll go full McInnes. Yeah, I think this is kind of like the Aberdeen playbook, isn't it? Kill the space, be tight and compact. And you think about the first time we went to Pataudry this season, I remember Hatate scored a really nice goal. Maybe Negren did okay as well. It was under Brendan Rodgers. It was very early in the season. It was a really tough game. Adela Ayoshishe, Jesper Karlsson, all these guys were like, maybe not Jesper Karlsson, but Ayoshishe definitely had a nice shot from the edge of the box and stuff like that, causes some problems. But if you remember all the highlights, it's Aberdeen running into space with 3 guys. You know, that's kind of the way they like to do it. The Derek McInnes playbook, as Brown Warrior refers to it as. I don't think we're going to get much different now. I know they're trying to become a Bundesliga team and try and change some stuff. And you might get a little bit, if we can add Celtic back into this here, you might get a little bit of a bit of a Bundesliga press from them. This space in between defence and midfield, McGregor's shadow, Engels' blind spot, these types of zones is where we get hurt all the time, you know. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do try and live in this zone here to try and jump onto a ball or, you know, guard up a little bit higher. But early in the game, wouldn't be surprised if they were a bit more conservative. So where this line positions himself, I think will tell you a lot in the first half about what Aberdeen's motivation is, what their intention is in the game. And you'll kind of feel that early on. Armstrong's a player of quality, we all know. Cameron signed from Rangers, very good at Dundee to be watched for. Aremu, I don't know much about, but honestly, this defence, Liam Morrison, who left us for Bayern Munich and has played some English Championship football before coming back up the road. Nielsen is the absolute hatchet midfielder that we've played against Aberdeen for ages. You know, I'm going to say it now, we're probably going to get a penalty. We're probably going to get a bunch of set pieces in and around the box. Mitchell Frame against Yang or Mvuka or anyone else that could come on. Like, I've watched Mitchell Frame a little bit for the B team a year ago or so. I'd be very surprised if he can handle this. Topi Kiskinen, I'm a big fan of. I think he'll be back helping out a lot. Balalovic, I'm not too up on, so I couldn't really comment on. But I think, yeah, they will be deep and try and explode into space. And Armstrong is a set-piece man, so if they can get corners and free kicks in our half, then you know they're going to be going for it. But I think this should be entertaining. I'm not too sure we're going to get the clean sheet because it is Pataudry and it's a bit different midweek. You know, they should have a bit of a good crowd there and they're really trying to get themselves back on their feet, although they're kind of struggling to do that at the moment. But I really do think with the options we spoke about off the bench and how we changed this game, any joy they do get in the early openings of the match, I don't think it's going to be long-lived. I don't think the first goal is that crucial in this game. We've spoken about that quite a lot on the channel in recent matches where you did feel with Celtic, if we didn't score first, it was going to be a real problem. Aberdeen could score first in this game. I don't think it would worry me that much. I'm not sure they've got more than 1 or 2 goals in them. I'm not sure we've got much more, but we have the ability to go and score a lot with the bench we have, as well as the quality of the front line. And Mitov, although he's a good shot stopper, he's got an error in him as well. So if he does have a good start to the game, he's not a good crowd. Doubt it in this weather, says Michael Ross. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Mitov does have, he knows the cameras are on him. You know, he does like playing up to the cameras. AR, I'm with you there. Can Trusty play tonight? I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. I've got no reason to think he's still suspended for this one. Feel free to correct me, but we still need to punish them for that Flaming Cup final, says I'm a great guy. Now, you say that, I think the last time he played a blinder against us, he also had an error. I might be wrong in that, but I think he's a good shot stopper, Mitov. No. Mitov was the guy, you know, when we bought Siegrist, Mitov was the guy we should have got from St. Johnstone or whatever it was. Or even when we got, if Mitov was the season after, I forget the actual order of it all, but once you realise that Siegrist wasn't going to play, Mitov would have been a great domestic signing backup guy. Bulgaria #1 and stuff. Could have maybe sold him for a few quid as well. But yeah, I think this will be a big one. I think it's going to be all eyes on Engels as well with the Nottingham Forest rumours. And surely now, like, I think Martin O'Neill's been getting more and more out of him. He's progressively became more and more confident. But I think, like, now, between now and the end of the season, this is victory lap time for Engels. This is when he puffs his chest out a bit, lift his chin up, and, you know, show this league what he's got. Because he probably thinks, right, well, I'm probably moving in the summer now. So I would... Tati scored late on. Yeah, it was late. It was a nice goal from the edge of the box, I'm sure, wasn't it? Quinny, choking to see McInnes AC at end of the season when we take the title. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too, Eddie. It'll be fun. Mitov looked dodgy against the Rangers, get big tam on him. And yeah, I think if, again, Liam Morrison and heel to Nielsen, a youth centre-back that's, well, he's got... Let's see, how much football has Liam Morrison got under his belt? "12 games this season in the Championship, 19, and then, yeah, okay. He's got some experience building up for him, I guess. Played 90 minutes against Kelly in a 3-0 loss and got booked. So yeah, I think that's a good omen. I think we're really just going to have our way with their defence. I think Nielsen has got errors in him. I think Devlin has got errors and cards in him. And between Morrison and Frame, I don't fear them defensively, you know. Engels could have a big show in this one, but I think it's really going to be the front line that could come to life here because Aberdeen are kind of there for the taking. And I do hesitate to make any sweeping statements like that, but I really do feel if we're going to get up the pitch here and really control them and suffocate them the way we do, like, yeah, they might get out once or twice. Maybe they'll get a shot or two away. Maybe we don't keep a clean sheet. I wouldn't be too upset by that, but I think we will, and I think we'll pound them, to be honest with you. I think we really will. The journey will be something. Martin O'Neill said he wants as many of the new signings involved. He did kind of mention that he might not, that he can't get them all on the bench and he can't get them all game time, and it's a bit of a journey. So, it was, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if, let's say, Arthur didn't make the bench. I would be surprised if any of the other ones didn't, but if Arthur didn't make the trip, I'm not even sure he was in that training video, actually, Arthur, was he? But I would very much expect to see Adamu and Mvuka in the building. And yeah, like, look at this, man. We've got seriously like 6 subs to weigh up for how this game is going to go. Even if you swap Dyson with Tunetke, if you think that's what's going to happen, that is real options again, really quickly. And that's the good thing about the business we've done is we got numbers in, we got a good level in. And that's not even, you know, somebody's mentioning here, Kev Boy, Quinny bench will be interesting ralston Who drops out? Ralston again, Murray, McKeown, Bernardo. I think Ralston needs to be involved to make World Cup squad, but not good enough for me, sadly. I think Ralston's, like, he'll make the World Cup squad if he plays or he won't play. It all depends on, you know, injury status of guys like Nathan Patterson and Aaron Hickey, and I think there's somebody else as well that was in the fold. But Steve Clark, it's like Alan Hutton. Remember Alan Hutton used to get in the Scotland team and he was a free agent? And he wasn't playing for Aston Villa. He was in Aston Villa reserves and he was still, like, for a minute, like, Alan Hutton was Scotland's best player, you know what I mean? And he wasn't even playing for Villa. So in that kind of context, international football and how it works, don't think Ralston really needs it. You know, Clark will pick him or won't pick him. Really more on other people, personally, is the way I see it. But the bench will be interesting. It will be interesting to see who makes it and then who comes off it. But yeah, I'm going to go with Celtic. It's midweek. I like midweeks. I'm going to go with 3-0. I'm going to go with 3-0 to the Hoops. Smash the like button if you've not done so already, by the way. And when the comments section opens up, when the live stream finishes, be sure to leave your score predictions and your man of the match shouts. Who's going to write the headlines in the comment section? Leave your receipts on the internet here, guys. I'm going to go with 3-0. And headline maker, it has to be Adamu. From the start or for the bench, I think Adamu. If it's not Adamu, I want to see a big headline performance from Taneke. I think Negren and Chavanchara are quite close to the headlines if they were to get goals and stuff anyway. But I'd love to see us after the game going, what about Taneke? He had Cammy. Like, this is a guy that Taneke should be putting on toast, you know? And if Adamu comes off the bench and is all things that we think he could be, again, I could see him maybe, if it's tight at 1-0, you make some of these substitutions, we blast them away to make it 3-0. So whether, and again, maybe they score first. I'm not ruling that out, but I'm going to go with 3-0. And I want Taneke to be the headline maker, but I believe it's probably going to be Adamu. Imagine it was Mvuka. Imagine if Mvuka started the game, come off the bench at halftime or something, and absolutely, do you know what? See somebody like this Mvuka against Frame, it might be a bit of a mismatch physically. You know, if his pace and dexterity is what we've, as is advertised, he could be a real handful. Wouldn't rule out a surprise package like that either. But yeah, that's how I think and feel about it as well. You had any information on the game being postponed, Quinny? I have not, Michelle. It is icy cold, though. It is icy cold. 3-0, 2 red cards, 2 goals chopped off for us. That's a great shout. I'm a great guy. Like I mentioned a moment ago, with Nielsen and Devlin in this defence, never mind the kind of inexperienced players alongside, I'm expecting dangerous free kicks and penalties to come. I think there will be some big decisions for the referee here. And lots of you guys getting some great receipts in the chat. Negren and Yank score 6+ corners, a KT assist, Celtic halftime, full-time. McLaughlin P has put his accumulator into the chat. Love the prediction, mate. Highly accurate. Love a bit of that. I'd be surprised if Taneke starts. Now, FJC, I would be interested to hear if you would still say that after, maybe you have, but if you've not, watch the Falkirk breakdown on the channel that we dropped yesterday. Because, honestly, man, and we looked at it a minute ago, Dyson, it's Aberdeen. Maybe you could rest Dyson at the weekend in the cup game. So I'm not totally against you here. I think that's kind of 50-50, isn't it? But from where I'm sitting and looking at the Falkirk game, I don't think you can pick Dyson. Dyson's been minced for the last couple of matches. Utrecht was terrible. Hearts, yeah. I know Bologna was decent, but look at this. The Talbot game, he didn't play right, but otherwise, he's played centre forward, right wing, left wing, all season long. You know, he needs a break. The supplementing of the squad is to really help him, I think, as well as some other players. The huddle tonight could be quite feisty, methinks. Oh, really? The huddle? Why do you say that, Brown Warrior? Surely there's a place for Balakwisha. I don't think so. Again, we've seen Balakwisha in that training video, like right at the end, and actually, just to see his face, because we see how happy Adamu and Vuku and everyone is. It's right at the end here, and he is like just neutral. And Bernardo standing behind him as well. We'll see it in a wee second. I'll freeze frame it for you. Yeah, I mean, these two guys don't look chuffed, do they? It's not a guy that enjoys his work anymore, is it? $148 I got it for, well done. McLaughlin P, rinsing the Akas. I'll go 2-0, 1 in each half. Pork Chop Express, a wee bit conservative, but optimistic still. I like that. And convincing. And the Oily Maniac, what a name. To be honest, I think we're going to have that and wool on our willies back into the table. I should have read that entire comment first. I just seen as a kind of bigger comment. It was end of the day, boys. I thought, what's this about? I should have read that. Should have read that first. Safe to say, the oily maniac thinks we're going to have our way with Aberdeen tonight. The team huddle, Quinny Calmac will be right in their faces about the Hearts result. Oh yeah, Brown Warrior, I can see that. Thank you very much, Jim Kinlan. I really appreciate that, mate. Honestly, fantastic. Watched that St Mirren game last night. Says Fanatic or Fan 1966 tick. and was PO'd watching a good keeper come off his line to grab high balls in the box. Yeah, suppose you kind of grass is greener with goalkeepers, isn't it? When we've got older keepers in the net for us. Awesome. But yeah, guys, there's been a lot of you tuning in today. So thanks to everyone that did join us live. If you've watched this after we've been live, thank you very much. Everyone that smashes the like button, especially over the last couple of days, by the way, the support for the content has been off the charts, off the hook. Thanks to every one of you. Really appreciate it. I'll say it again, if you're traveling to Aberdeen, please travel safe. Have a great time. Stay out of trouble and all that good stuff. And whenever you're watching the game tonight, I hope you're nice and cozy. You've got a wee cold one. I probably won't see you until tomorrow. I've already done a Europa League kind of breakdown analysis type thing. A lot of you guys have asked for who won the transfer window video. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of looked at it this morning before doing this stream that I'm with you now for. And I don't know if I want to do it, to be honest with you. So we'll maybe do a poll for that on the next live stream. And if you want it, we can do it. But time is kind of getting away from us in any case. Matches come thick and fast. And I'm looking at the kind of upload schedule. I'm not even really too sure where I would slide it in. I don't mind doing it. We can always put it on Substack anytime as well. It's just with YouTube, I need to be a bit more considered with the schedule because we want something out every day. And as you know, with the Falkirk game, we had the double upload on Monday because like Sunday night, we had the transfer window closing. Monday, we had the Falkirk review and we had aftermath of the transfer window where we're listening to the words of Martin O'Neill. And then today we're previewing Aberdeen. Tomorrow we'll be reviewing Aberdeen. The day after, we'll be looking at the Cup. Yada, yada. So I don't mind doing it. Of course, I'd be more than happy to. A lot of you guys have asked for it, but if and when we do it, probably comes out like Sunday, Monday, something like that. And then we're looking at midway through February. I'm just not too sure how many of these would be interested in that. We still have Oxlade Chamberlain chat going in and around the building as well. So one to watch out for. Quinny, please do not back the game ban, as Martin and the boys have done nearly perfect since Mon and Maloney came in. They deserve backing in the running. So, Peter, I really don't know how to feel about this in terms of the boycott at the weekend and all the rest of it. Like, I kind of get you in that regard where it's like the team and all that stuff, right? But I'm really torn on the whole situation in terms of like the team and Martin and just getting on with it. But what I think cannot be overlooked at this point is the unique situation of how many Celtic fans are in unison and how they feel about the way the club's been managed and ran. And thinking about this transfer window video we were chatting about doing, as you guys all know, we have not spent a brown penny this window. It's the thing I mentioned earlier in the stream. It's the strategy that we're using is just so risky, you know. And clearly Celtic, like the thing is, right, Celtic have been making these mistakes that we're in the middle of making right now for years. And a growing amount of fans have been raising concerns that the wheels will fall off this at one point because your process isn't consistent. It's not sound. It's not born into, you know, a protocol or whatever. It's just kind of like, they run around and just make it up as they go along. And this was the window that should have changed. You know, there should have been a real sea change. But like I said, when I was kind of in my mad ramblings yesterday, they do, like the thing I've always been saying, I'll repeat it one last time. When I listen to them, I think they must believe everything they're saying. So otherwise, why would they say it? And if they believe all this stuff, then we need to see action in the window. We didn't see it in the summer, and we've not seen it in January. So that then recompounds in my mind that they do believe everything they're saying. But on top of that, they believe it is actually successful. And it's the reason of the previously attained success that we've had. And it's not, you know, that Brendan was just like a really good coach, maybe got us out of a hole with some transfers, thinking about his first time, even guys like Scott Sinclair and whatever, bringing them in, been able to attract the likes of Dembele's and whatever. Second time, obviously, goes without saying, phone book Brendan for transfers, etc. Ange, of course, we all know, really did things off his own back, didn't really need the club structure to help him in any way. And I posted about this earlier. I'm sorry to bring up another team, right? But we'll do it real quickly just for this little chat and we'll finish off. But this season, I watch a lot of football, as a lot of you guys know. But this season, one of the teams I've kind of put onto my roster or my watch list or whatever is Fenerbahce. Now, Turkish teams have got more money, right, in general, and all the rest of it. That's fine. They probably don't really have much more money than us, but if we're being honest. But this is a team that has an active transfer policy. You know, theirs is a bit more gung-ho and go and spend big and go and get recognised talent. But there's no advantage that Fenerbahce, Benfica, PSV, these clubs have over us. We could live this life. Not this window coming, not next season, but with a concerted effort and strategy. We could have done this when Ange came in. If we and that again, you can go back and look at the content. When Ange came in, the thing that really washed across a lot of fans was we're joining the modern era. We're selling Juranovic, but we've already bought Johnson. We've got Giacomakis and Kyogo and we've got Jota and Abada and Dyson. We've got we've got all this stuff stacking up. Hatate, O'Reilly, and Moy, and it's gone by the wayside. So it would take that type of effort, and you need compound in some of that success season on season. But this is a life Celtic could live. We could get here. We have the money in the bank. We have the global reach. We have everything that these guys have. Now, maybe their TV deal's a little bit better than ours. Whatever. It's not that much better, but it makes such a difference, Just signed N'Golo Kante today as well, as some of you guys mentioned, pulling him out of Saudi Arabia. And, so I want us to be Fenerbahce. I want us to be, let's even look at Benfica. Again, like, what's the Portuguese TV deal? Nobody watches Portuguese football, except for Portuguese people. Maybe that's more than Scotland, right? Fine, whatever. And yeah, there's Champions League participation that adds into this. And Benfica have sold Enzo Fernandez for 100 million, and they sold, João Felix for 100 million, and Renato Sanchez for 80 million. I know all that, fine. But again, they're not out of our reach. They're not in the Premier League. They're not in La Liga. They're not Real Madrid. They're not Man United. This is a team that is like, we could be this team. We could go to Brazil and buy a midfielder for 27 million quid. We could go and Lukebakio, I think, is terrible, but we could waste 20 million quid on a guy like Lukebakio if we wanted. You know what I mean? And, this is something that, again, they've only actually spent 15 million this window, but the turnover's massive, and you need to be a bit more aggressive. You need to be a bit more ambitious to live this life, and you need to be on the path to live in this life. You can't just wake up when the transfer window starts and go, oh, who will we buy that today? The chat's kind of went away a little bit. So apologies, I've kind of went wages and yeah, there's maybe different weight. Again, the tax might be, I get there's differences and we can't just, look at them. It's not an A and a B comparison. Again, I've used Benfica here. I could probably look at, not even Ajax, but PSV or even Feyenoord. And again, like, we're not Bodo Glimt. We're not Bruges. We are above all that, but we've been dragged into that continuously over the last couple of years. Look at this. Like, again, we should be living this life by this point, from when, really probably when Brendan left. I know Neil Lennon and whatever kind of maybe derailed it, 10 in a row and all that caper. But there's no reason that we couldn't buy a Bundesliga forward for 4 million quid. I guess we've kind of done that, I suppose, with loan to buy options, but a promising winger out of Serie A for 8 million quid, high prospect, young defender. That's what we've been crying out for, a guy that's better than Scales. Look how much he costs. 10 million quid. That's what I've been saying on this channel the whole time. A wonder kid from Bayern Munich for 15 million quid. A wonder kid from within the league off a competitor for 15 million quid. This is the life we should be living. So when it comes to the protests and all the stuff that's going on, I am kind of split on how I feel about it all and stuff. But in terms of like, that's kind of rubbish for the team, I personally can put that to one side for 2 minutes, because this is the life that we should be living as Celtic fans. Do any of these teams win the Champions League? No. But they win their own league. They get really competitive. With Fenerbahce, by the way, watch out, because they are spending serious wedge. And again, maybe their tax restrictions, they can pay more wages and stuff. Fine. But the point remains, that is the category of European football we should be in. Not Bodo Glimt, not Bruges, not Hellas Verona, not Lorient, not Rapid Vienna, and guys from the Slovakian league and from Timbuktu. This is the realm of the landscape that we belong in, So anyway, And yeah, there is dynamics. Like I mentioned with Benfica, they've made lots of profit because João Felix's and Renato Sanchez's and these types of guys they can bring through their academy. And that's an even longer process that we need to catch up on, of course, as well. But a lot of that is player trading, and a lot of that is regular European attendance in the Champions League in particular. That's the main thing. Their TV deal's not that great. Their stadium's not any different to ours, really. I think Benfica maybe is bigger because they had like a revamped stadiums for the Euros back in 2004, whenever it was. But season tickets, global reach. I know it's not a penny right now, but generally merch. Celtic are always like a top 20 team, top 30 team in the world for merch and reach and shirt sales and all that kind of thing, you know. Anyway, I've babbled on for far too long. I'm sure a few of you are going to go and check out Axom now. I hope you enjoy that. And if you watch this after we've been live, thanks for tuning in as well, of course. Fingers crossed for tonight. I hope your prediction's right. Maybe mine can be right. Who knows? Hail, hail, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the support. Thanks to everyone that smashes the like button and comments. It really does mean a lot. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Hail, hail. Mon the hoops.